And welcome back to the second quarter hour here of The Plank. Greg Allman sitting in from the Tampa Bay Times, Buccaneer beat writer. Glad to have him along, sitting in for John Sable. I'm TK, Tom Corin, and that's Ralphie right there, who's sleeping, so he said. But we're going to wake him up sometime in maybe the next frame of this shoe and get some more interaction with our buddy Frankie, who's got a Ralphie, whatever his name is. He's got a hell of a hat, though. I like his hat. Okay, let's go to Weston Hodkiewicz, who joins us from the Green Bay Press-Gazette. Weston, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Hello, Weston. Okay. We got an atmospheric interference. Weston, you there, buddy? Okay. We'll figure it out. We have Weston there. We know he's on the line. It's just getting him between the line and us. But what do you think he's going to say about the Buccaneers' chances of beating the Green Bay Packers?
I think if you're Green Bay, you have to be pretty optimistic. This is a Packers team, this is a Packers team that lost to Buffalo last week. So they're coming in probably a little even hungrier than they would be with their record at this part of the season. It's a road game, and road games in the NFL are always hard to win. But when you're playing a Bucs team that hasn't won at home all season, I think, relatively speaking, you have to be pretty confident on the road against this team.
All right, let's bring in Weston right now. Hey, Weston, how are you? Hey, Weston. Weston, you there, buddy? Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just we'll try to get Weston hooked up here. I guess a little atmospheric interference once again. I wonder if that's Santa in his sleigh out there. He has to get an early start. A lot of kids want gifts.
Packers here in Tampa for the first time since 2009. So a long time for that. Packers haven't changed that much. Buccaneers only have one player from that game in 2009 still on this team. That's DeMar Dotson. Everybody else is gone from that last game the Packers played here in Tampa.
That's unreal. What do you think the situation is going to be at Ray J come Sunday? How much green, how much red?
A lot of green.
A lot of green.
You've seen about 45,000 Bucs fans on average, including the opponent. This is a sellout, so you got another 20,000 in attendance. I would say you can be polite and say half and half, but it's going to be loud no matter who has the ball. The Buccaneers, when they have the ball on offense, are going to have to be ready as if it's a road game because it's going to be loud. The Packers do this everywhere they go. It's not something new to Tampa, what they said when they went to San Diego, they had it there. So as much green in the stands as you'd have if the Bulls were playing there.
Yeah, and I'm going to guess, I know that's sold out.
Yeah.
And so if it's sold out, and I see as many empty seats as I see, there's going to be at least 30,000 of those people.
Right, I would think 25,000, 30,000 Packers fans. It's not hard to sell people on leaving Wisconsin to come to Tampa in December. So, no, this is a big thing for them, and it'll be very much like a home game in the stands for the way that it feels for the teams on Sunday.
I got you. I think we're pretty close to getting Weston on the line right now, aren't we? Oh, I can tell you, I can feel it. Can you feel it?
I know it's close.
You see, this is what happens when you do live television. Things like this
Absolutely.
happen. Okay. Almost there. No, I'm getting that round. I'm getting that. Maybe not. Hey, is you there? Weston, you there? Yeah, Weston. Hello, Weston. Hello, Newman.
Western Union.
Oh, Western Union, exactly. Well, let me ask you then.
There's lots we could talk about.
There's plenty we could talk about. How about the Packers and they started. You got Rodgers. You've got now Lacey. Is he a question mark still or not? Have you heard?
I think he should be fine.
I think he's going to be fine. So that adds the complement of a doubleheader hit on this defense. And without Gerald McCoy in that middle, I just wonder whether or not this football team can even stop the run.
Yeah, they've held up. They finished the game fairly well without Gerald McCoy on Sunday, losing him when they did. It looks like they'll have Clinton McDonald back, who was another starter in the defensive tackle right in the middle there. So in terms of a run stopper, he helps you having him back. But not having Gerald McCoy, they're going to have to generate a lot of their pass rush from the outside. Like you mentioned, Michael Johnson's going to have to get to the quarterback, which he hasn't done very well this year. To beat Aaron Rodgers, you have to pressure Aaron Rodgers. You have to make him uncomfortable. And I don't know that this is a front four that can do that with any consistency right now.
We do have highlights of Michael Johnson when he was at Cincinnati, and I'm going to show it tonight at 11. Believe it or not, okay, that he actually sacked Rodgers.
Oh, really?
He
Very
got
good.
to
Oh, well,
Rogers, so it can't be done.
you have video evidence of it.
Right,
That's good.
I do, and I have evidence right now that Weston is on the line. Weston. Ooh, no, he's not. Okay. Well, I'll tell you. What's that? Hey, Weston, you there, buddy?
We're hopeful every time.
I guess we're just not going to get Weston.
That's okay.
It's a good try. It was a good try anyway. But I'd like to hear what he's got to say, because what I really wanted to do is I wanted to tell him that it was about 64 degrees right now and beautiful. Today was 71, and I wanted to ask him how things are up there in Green Bay.
They know it's not. They know it's not sunny Florida. I talked to Sam Barrington, former USF linebacker. Talked to him the other night, and again, it's just a different world. They're excited about a trip to sunny Florida. They're excited to get away from cold weather and practicing outside, bundled up. It'll be a much different atmosphere than what they're used to having, and I think they're okay with that coming into Tampa.
Yeah. Okay. How about defensively, Deshaun Golston? He didn't practice today with some shin problem, but is anything?
Yeah, Lovey kind of downplayed it. He said he had kind of hurt it in practice yesterday and had kind of tried to finish practice. Was limited in what he was able to do. Golston's another one. They're running out of safeties. Obviously, they traded away Mark Barron. They've got Bradley McDougald in there, but they don't have a lot of depth at safety, so they need Deshaun Golston to be able to play. You think about having Jordy Nelson on one side and Randall Cobb on the other. You're going to need help in that secondary, keeping those two out of the end zone. So hopefully for the Bucs, Deshaun can get himself healthy and play through that. He's done a pretty good job all year of playing through injuries.
Do you think, have you got a feeling at all when you were in the locker room at all that these guys are looking at this game as the game? They're New Orleans, fine, but this game, this is against, like I say, the better of the two, a bona fide Super Bowl contender. Look at it as a playoff game to them. Throw it all out, leave it all out there, and see where they are.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot from fans wanting the Bucs to lose, wanting the Bucs to keep this number one overall pick. In the locker room, you don't have that. This is a prideful group of players. The Bucs haven't gone winless at home for an entire season since 1976, since the franchise's first year. They don't want to be associated with anything as embarrassing as that. So, as a prideful group of players, individually they want to play well, and as a team they want to play well. So there won't be any shortage of motivation to play well, to try and come up against difficult odds and hang with this Packers team on Sunday.
Hello?
I think I hear Weston. Weston.
You guys got me?
We got you, buddy. You're in Tampa. Hello, Weston.
How are you guys doing?
Oh, God, we couldn't. If we were any better, we'd be triplets. Say hello to Greg Allman from the Tampa Bay Times.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. Sorry about that delay there.
Oh, that's not your problem. I think it was just atmospheric interference, which usually happens in an area when you have a 2-12 football team. Hey, how's? By the way, the only thing we have over you is the weather. What's it like over there, buddy?
Oh, it is bad. It's Green Bay in December.
How bad?
Yeah. It's not that, I shouldn't complain too much. It's only about 35, 40 degrees out. We've dipped in November. We got down as low as, I'd say, 5, 10 degrees. So all things considered, for this time of the year, it's not too terrible. But after I saw the forecast of, I think, high 60s for Sunday, I have to admit I started salivating a little bit.
That's all we have from a trash talking standpoint is weather. So we're good on that. Everything else is pretty much working in your favor.
Yeah, it is working in your favor. Well, all right. Listen, I guess Mike has got him in playoff mode here, which really didn't bode very well. I had to hear that sentence yesterday, and I'm going, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Are these guys? I guess they're a little PO'd of what happened last week, and pretty much looking at destroying this football team this week, huh?
Yeah, they're really trying to find a way to bounce back. Obviously, that was kind of a setback to have the performance offensively that they did against Buffalo. I mean, this is one of the highest-scoring offenses in the league. Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, and he ends up having statistically the worst game of his career. And offense, they just couldn't get anything going against that four-man front from Buffalo. So they made it very clear with us on Wednesday that they were putting this game behind them. They were not going to talk about it. The players said they were even instructed not to discuss it with the media. So they're going into this one, as you guys mentioned, they've taken a playoff approach to it. McCarthy actually had them select their playoff captains on Monday. He's been very cautious to say that wasn't that they're taking it for granted that they're going to be in the playoffs, but rather that every game going forward has must-win implications. And when you look at how the NFC landscape is kind of shaking out, obviously, from their perspective, this game Sunday against Tampa Bay is one they definitely need to have.
You'd think going in, it seemed like the attitude here is that the Bucs needed them to come in with a head of steam if there was any chance of them overlooking a team when you're on the playoff bubble in Week 16. Now, seeing them stumble at Buffalo, you have to think they're going to get a very focused Packers team down here, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so, especially from Aaron Rodgers' perspective. I don't have all the stats in front of me right now, but if you look statistically during Rodgers' career, he's always played exceptional after a down performance. There haven't been a whole lot of them, but when he has struggled, he's bounced back the following week. And that's going to be the big thing this week, is showing that they can put that behind them and really build some momentum going into the playoffs. Because even if you get the win against Tampa Bay, next week they have to face the Detroit Lions for the NFC North title. And obviously they got it handed to them a little bit earlier this year when they were playing in Detroit. So, but everybody's said it so far this week. This is a team you can't look past. They see them a lot in the cut-ups with how there's been the crossover with the NFC North and South this year. They are impressed at certain things that they're doing, and obviously Lovie Smith earlier in his career in Chicago had a lot of success against Green Bay. So it's been very important for them not to overlook the Buccaneers, but at the same time, I think when you look from a talent perspective, obviously that's one area where the Packers probably trump them on paper.
Yeah, one of the things, Weston, that I think Green Bay's got to be happy about is that Gerald McCoy is done for the year. So
right.
they have some opportunities to run it up the middle. Clinton McDonald is coming back. But I think Daquan Bowers, is he going to be a part of this scenario?
Yeah, probably Daquan Bowers and Akeem Spence, probably between the two of them, covering in for, obviously neither of them is going to be confused with Gerald McCoy, though.
Right, and so, Lacey, I guess he's ready to go. And he may have
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he was dealing with a hip injury that he played through against Buffalo. He mentioned afterwards that it was very painful. And actually this year he had a really odd thing flare up where he's having problems with his contact lenses. So he was actually limited in practice, I think because he left his contacts in too long. He has like these 30-day contacts. So he was feeling a lot of irritation. So that's kind of the storylines here in Green Bay right now. Other than that, Lacey's been pretty unstoppable. He's 60 yards short of 1,000 yards for the season. Started very slow earlier this year. But yeah, I thought when I did see that, McCoy goes to injured reserve, that's going to be a big hit for Tampa Bay. And the way the Packers even ran the ball last week against the Bills and their front, they feel pretty good about where they're at right now at that 1-2 combination of Lacey and James Starks.
Weston, there's a lot of NFC North familiarity down here. They've got Lovie Smith, obviously, with so many years in Chicago. Leslie Frazier's the defensive coordinator. He's seen Aaron Rodgers twice a year for the last 6-7 years as well. Do you think that factors at all? Those are two guys that didn't necessarily have a lot of success against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. But do you think that helps them in a game like this?
I think it does. And especially, too, you look at the games in which Rodgers has had the most trouble, it's a lot of times against the cover 2 look, and whatever variation of the Tampa 2, that's something that they've struggled with at times. And I know you probably have to look more towards the beginning of Smith's time in Chicago, as I alluded to when they were really having their most success. But at the same time, they've shown, Lovie Smith and Leslie Frazier are smart guys, and they've shown, whether it was in Minnesota or Chicago, they can dial up packages to be able to limit those offensive options for the Packers. Evan Dietrich Smith said it this week too when he did the conference call with the Packers Green Bay media this week. Obviously, the starting center for Green Bay last year. That there is going to be a lot of familiarity on both sides of the ball, whether it's him or the coaching staff and the Packers and what they've seen so far in the past with those guys in the NFC North. There is a lot of familiarity there, and it goes both ways. They're watching the tapes, and they're looking back at some of that old film of Chicago and Minnesota and trying to figure out exactly how they want to attack this. But there's definitely a lot on the line, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly what they come up with and what their strategy is. Because as we've seen offensively and defensively, the one strength the Packers have had in the second half of the season is how quickly they can change their colors.
How about, Weston, what were some of the weaknesses that you saw out of the Packers that perhaps the Buffalo Bills exposed last week that maybe the Buccaneers could take advantage of or at least see on tape?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is, and I think there's been a trend in all their losses, maybe with the exception of New Orleans, which is where Rodgers ended up hurting his hamstring and it wasn't the same player. But Seattle, Detroit, and Buffalo beat them with being able to get pressure with the 4-man rush. If you look at it, Rodgers has really carved up defenses that send extra attackers. if you can get a consistent pass rush and consistent pressure with 4 guys and be able to send 7 guys back, that's when the difficulty really gets escalated for Rodgers in this offense. And I thought that's something Buffalo did really well. It wasn't that they were getting to Rodgers every single play, but they were keeping him uncomfortable, and their secondary was very physical. If they did a lot of too high looks, a lot of stuff that I think has boded well in the past for defending the Packers. So Rodgers ended up having, like I said, a very uncharacteristic performance for him. 2 interceptions. He's only had 5 all season. So that's going to be very key for him to bounce back. But at the same time, Lovie Smith and these guys in Tampa Bay looking at that film of what the Buffalo Bills did well and trying to take some of those elements this week against Green Bay.
Weston, I just tell you this right now, that I wouldn't be too concerned about a 4-man rush here. See, they need 12 guys on the field, and they need to, I'm just telling you, I wouldn't be too concerned. So if that's the only thing that Buffalo have exposed the Buccaneers, Greg, I'd say the boys are in trouble.
Yeah, even before McCoy went down, that's not something the Bucs had done very consistently in terms of pressure with the front 4. They don't blitz a lot to create the pressure even when they don't get it from the front 4. So, again, Aaron Rodgers is not a guy you want to give time in the pocket. I will say, if they do feel like they need a defensive score to win this game, the only pick 6 in Aaron Rodgers' career, and it's amazing to me that he's played 118 games and has 1 pick 6, but it did come against the Buccaneers. So from a
and that was also performance too. And you correct me if I'm wrong on this, guys, but that was one where the Packers came in really red hot and they had a big wake-up call. I think that was was that the Bucs' first win that year? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I think the Bucs were, if I read it right this week, the Bucs were 0-7 and got their first win of all places against a Packers team like that.
Yeah, it was the same exact circumstances too. Late, I mean, obviously not this late in the season, but the Buccaneers really struggling, the Packers, looking pretty good.
Yeah, if we can remember that, I'm sure Mike McCarthy's reminding his players of that as they think of reasons not to overlook the Bucs.
Yeah, no question.
Weston, how about your thoughts on Green Bay and their opportunities in the playoffs? I think you guys are going to get there. I like your chances. I think you might be able to get to the Super Bowl. Do you agree with that, or do you think that they're going to run into an obstacle?
It's a very realistic possibility. I think this is my 3rd year on the beat now. I think this is the best shot they've had during my 3 years. Obviously, 2011 was the year they went 15-1, the year before I got on the beat, and they really hit a wall later in the season. And a part of that, I think, was because they just couldn't run the ball. They were 27th in rushing and 3rd in total offense. Now they have a better 1-2 complement. They have a run game that really will keep defenses honest. And obviously Aaron Rodgers, and at 31 years old now, just how much command he has of that offense, it's really quite impressive. And defensively, I mean, they're still I think 25th ranked defense. It doesn't really show up a lot on the stat sheet, but Julius Peppers has made a big impact with them. Lovie Smith talked this week with us about, what kind of player he is and what he brings to the table. And I think you've seen that, him stepping up not only on the field but also as a leader. When they did lose guys like Evan Dietrich Smith, they've had a rookie like Corey Linsley step up at center. So I don't know if there's been a whole lot of huge glaring holes for them. It just seems like where guys have departed, they've filled in, and at other positions they've improved. So the biggest test for them is going to be the likes of Seattle and Detroit, some of these defenses that can stop the run and can make them one-dimensional. They're eventually going to have to beat one of those teams along the road, and it's going to be curious to see exactly what they're going to have to do to finally accomplish that.
Well, Weston, listen, you enjoy your trip down here and enjoy your stay here in the Tampa area. And if you're looking for, like, sightseeing places to go to, I suggest the Dollhouse. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I have not, but I appreciate the tips there. We're getting in at, like, noon on Saturday, so I'll have plenty of time to kill out there.
Well, you don't have a problem because I think it's open, like, 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
Just ask the boys. Ask the boys on the beat about the Dollhouse. I'm sure they'll be able to tell you, okay?
Okay, I'll do my best with that.
All right, have a good one. Thanks,
Thanks, Weston.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, take care, man. All right, you think you'll go to the Dollhouse?
There's this reputation.
Is it still open?
It's like Tampa is zoned stripper, if you think about the reputation that the city has with visiting media and stuff. And it's people like you that are perpetuating that stereotype.
I know, but, when folks at Green Bay, I mean, come on. I mean, look at it. Look what they got. Right now they got 35, 40 degrees. They're soon to have 35 below. All right? I mean, if you're going to be here for like 24 hours, why not at least drive by it? It's a nice place.
Yeah.
Good steaks, I guess, from what I hear. That's what Ralphie, right, Ralphie? Good steaks?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. You okay there, Ralphie?
Yeah, Tom.
Okay. Hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, have you been in a dollhouse?
I have not. I made a dollhouse.
You did?
Yeah,
Did you?
for my niece.
For your niece? Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah.
You're a good guy, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit? Okay. I got to take a break now, Ralphie.
Okay, good.
Okay?
I'm going to take over. Oh, you're going to go to commercial.
Good. You'll
Okay.
take it to commercial, Ralphie.
All right, we'll be back in a little bit with more, and we're going to see who's going to walk the plank.